Welcome to Networks Professionals.
You know, when an AI makes a catastrophic mistake, the fallout isn't just some minor glitch. It can literally ruin lives, bankrupt businesses, and completely dismantle public trust. We hear endlessly about the massive, disruptive potential of artificial intelligence, right? But the true unsung heroes of this tech revolution, they aren't the hype men. They're the rigorous frameworks and the developers ensuring these systems actually serve humanity safely. Today, we're diving into this explainer to unpack the ultimate blueprint for responsible AI. We're going to look entirely at the concrete, actionable principles that the builders themselves use to actively prevent discriminatory outcomes and system misuse way before a product ever even launches. So how do we actually prevent AI from causing harm? Well, it's absolutely imperative to build systems that treat all users equitably. And look, this isn't just some abstract philosophical debate. It's a hard technical requirement. Think about a hiring algorithm trained entirely on data from, say, the 1950s. Without strict ground rules, it simply automates old prejudices at lightning speed. If an AI system isn't guided by actionable principles, it really risks amplifying the exact flaws we're trying so hard to leave behind in society. Preventing harm means laying down these ground rules from the very first line of code. Here's our roadmap for this explainer. We'll be covering the AI ethics imperative, fairness and explainability, accountability and human oversight, privacy and system robustness, and finally, evaluating your AI project.
All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, the AI ethics imperative, establishing the stakes.
So, here are the 5 core pillars of AI ethics: fairness and non-discrimination, transparency and explainability, accountability and human oversight, privacy and security, and safety and robustness. Think of this as your complete mental map. But here's the surprising reality where things so often go wrong. Most development teams fail because they treat this list like a restaurant menu. You can't just order privacy and decide to skip transparency. Adopting responsible AI requires enforcing all 5 of these simultaneously. Together, they form the absolute bedrock of a system that can actually be trusted by the public. Missing even one completely compromises the entire structure. Moving right along to Section 2, fairness and explainability, looking inside the tech. Now, developers don't just sit around and cross their fingers hoping for fairness. They use concrete, specialized tools like IBM's AI Fairness 360. And AI is genuinely only as good as the data it learns from. If the historical data is biased, well, the output's going to be biased. So how do they fix it? This platform mathematically stress-tests algorithms against diverse demographic data. By simulating countless scenarios, it actively catches invisible disparities. This allows developers to aggressively audit their models and mitigate any disparities long before the system escapes the lab and makes a single real-world decision. And when AI influences a major decision, stakeholders absolutely must avoid opaque black box models. A black box model is completely opaque, meaning the computer spits out an answer, but nobody, literally not even the lead programmer, knows exactly how it arrived at that conclusion. That is incredibly risky for high-stakes scenarios. Instead, we need explainability frameworks to ensure the process is completely transparent. Utilizing tools like Lime is essentially like handing the developer a highlighter. It actually shows you which specific data points, words, or pixels tipped the AI's decision one way or another. This ensures that stakeholders maintain their fundamental right to understand exactly how an AI is making a major choice. Okay, on to Section 3. Accountability and human oversight, keeping control. No matter how incredibly advanced the system gets, a human should remain in the loop. This is the golden rule of accountability summed up in a single powerful sentence. We simply cannot set these massive computational systems loose and just wash our hands of the results. Consider the gravity of high-stakes scenarios here: medical diagnoses, mortgage loan approvals, or criminal justice sentencing. For any critical, life-altering decision, a human being must be present to review the output, understand the context, and ultimately take full responsibility for the final outcome. The AI is the assistant, folks, not the executive. To ensure that human oversight actually works in practice, organizations have to establish clear ownership and follow structured governance guides. It's essentially about building a strict chain of command for algorithms. By adhering to authoritative frameworks like the UNESCO recommendation on AI ethics, companies ensure there's always a specific person or team accountable. Without this kind of structured organizational governance, the word accountability is just a hollow corporate buzzword. Saying the computer did it is never an acceptable excuse when real lives are impacted. Let's shift gears to Section 4, privacy and system robustness, securing the framework. To protect personal data, builders must minimize data collection from the very start. And to do this, they use incredibly clever safeguards, like differential privacy, to train their models securely. What this essentially means is injecting a precise amount of mathematical noise into the dataset. It's a completely fascinating solution. It allows the AI to learn broad, highly accurate patterns about a whole population without ever being able to identify, reverse engineer, or memorize the specific personal data of any individual person within that group. You get all the sweeping insights you need while completely and permanently protecting individual privacy.
Organizations also guarantee safety and robustness by strictly following standards set by frameworks like NIST's Trustworthy AI. And this isn't just about how an AI works when everything's perfect. It's entirely about how it behaves when things go completely wrong. These standards ensure systems can handle unexpected conditions and failure modes safely. I mean, think about it. When an AI encounters a completely bizarre scenario it's never seen before, it needs to fail gracefully and shut down, rather than confidently prescribing the wrong medication or boldly driving a car directly into a lake.
Finally, Section 5. Evaluating your AI project. The Builder's Challenge.
If you're building or integrating an AI project right now, you need to clearly define the specific domain you're operating in. Is it healthcare? Is it hiring? Finance? The domain completely changes everything. The required explainability and the potential for harm shift drastically depending on what you're doing. If your AI is just generating movie recommendations, a minor glitch is completely harmless. But if your AI is managing loan approvals or analyzing medical scans, the stakes are existential. You absolutely must ruthlessly evaluate your foundations against these core pillars. So, I'm going to leave you with this final provocative question to ask yourself. What is the exact source of the training data that powers the systems deciding our future? Because as we've seen throughout this explainer, if you don't know exactly whose past you're feeding into your algorithm, you cannot possibly control whose future it decides. Thank you so much for joining me as we explored this critical blueprint.
Thanks for watching.